Welcome to the debate, is nuclear the future of energy? ... Again. I'll start off with Emma Bateman, who's going to speak first. She's an environmental campaigner, founder member of Together Against Sizewell C, and she's also the organizer of the Green Women's Declarations for Sex-Based Rights. Then we've got Robert Reed. Now, Robert Reed is a policy development officer at the ALBA Party, which I'm sure most of you are aware of. And then we have Dominic Standish, who is clearly still working on COVID rules because he wants to sit over there. I don't know why. Anyway, but Dominic is a lecturer at the American University in Venice. Is that correct?
Iowa University.
Okay, sorry, I got that. Anyway, as I say, Dominic's doing very short notice. Dominic has actually produced sessions on nuclear power previously in the past and written on it as well. So thank you for standing it last moment. Okay, so we're 5 minutes in, so let's get started. So Emma, if you'd like to start. You may, unfortunately, have to use this.
Hi. There are a couple of questions that we're invited to consider for this session. So is nuclear power the grand solution to our problems? No, it's not. Is nuclear just too slow and too expensive to build? Yes. And I won't waste time on how bad it is outside in the ecosphere, but we all know we've got to decarbonise now. We've got to do it quickly, and we don't have time to mess around. So nuclear is notoriously bad at being on time. It takes years to build. We're meant to be weaning ourselves off fossil fuels now. If we wait around for another 15 to 20 years or whatever for nuclear plans to be drawn up, all to go through and for it to be built, by the time we get through that, you've got another 15 years or so of continuing the fossil fuels that we're using now, because you don't get any reduction in it until the nuclear power plant is built. Latest figures for Hinkley, 46 billion. Another 5 billion has been handed to Sizewell, even though the government still doesn't have any investment. People don't want to invest in it. It's too risky. It's too big. It takes too long. And a former CEO of EDF described the EPR design for Hinkley as too complicated and almost unbuildable. So, what are we doing messing around with this stuff? Flamanville, 12 years late, 4 times the original price. Olkiluoto, 14 years late. And I know it's true in China. They built the reactors at Taishan fairly much on time, but one of them was shut down, and it's been shut down for a year. And there's not a lot of information come out about that because these things are not good enough, and the cracks really are showing because the ones that were built in the United Arab Emirates by KEPCO, the Korean company, all 4 of them have got cracks in the container vessels, the container buildings. So I think, and for these reasons, we shouldn't be messing around with this nuclear stuff. It's too dangerous. It's got to go in the ground for 300,000 years or whatever. We can't keep it safe. It's not fair to be passing this on to future generations, especially at a time when they'll be dealing with this with more extreme weather events, with reduced access to cheap fuel, and we're leaving them this legacy, and it's just not right. So I don't think we should be building them. And actually, it's not very ambitious. We've got far better things that we could be doing with that money. If you put that investment into renewables, if you put that investment into insulation, we can. You laugh, but the.
Is there no one split outside?
Yeah, is that gone off now? Oh. No, it's all right. Sorry. And I think it shows a lack of ambition to kind of go on with building nuclear. Okay, I've got the yellow card. And with all this energy, that we don't seem to have this. We don't. No, it's still not winning. Okay, we don't seem to have many people talking about the reductions that we need to do. It seems to be that we want to have this energy forever to keep making us happy to live this better life. But actually, there's a heck of a lot of people that are really worried about the climate. When you talk to young people, they're really concerned about the future. What are we actually leaving them with this legacy that they're going to have to deal with for years to come? Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you, Herbert. And can we please respect the speakers? We've got lots of chances to make your points seriously later on, so that's great.
This right round bit's not going to work.
Hello, my name is Robert Reeds. I work for the Alba Party, and until recently I was an aide to Alex Salmond. So first of all, I'd just like to pay tribute to Alec. He was the greatest boss anyone could ask for, and I'm not sure we'll see his like again. Alex had lots of legacies. One of his greatest, perhaps, was securing energy security for Scotland in the long term. He once coined the phrase "Scotland will be the Saudi Arabia of wind," and he was mocked by his opponents and, dare I say, some of his colleagues. And I think the proof is in the pudding now that Scotland's vast energy potential and future will be through renewables. I won't bore you with the kind of green. I won't bore you with the kind of green hippie mumbo jumbo about climate and safety. My position is driven by pragmatism. Currently, 1 megawatt hour of renewable energy, offshore wind energy, costs around about £41. The equivalent in nuclear energy costs £85. Seems to me rather daft to create or have nuclear as the cornerstone of your energy policy when it produces energy that's far more expensive. Scotland does not need nor want nuclear energy. We already have an abundance of natural resources. We produce 100% of our electricity needs through renewable sources already. By 2030, we will send south 124 billion kilowatt hours of energy to England. That's enough to power all 2.5 million homes in Scotland 12 times over. Not content with stealing our oil for the last 4 decades, it seems England wants to do the same with our renewables. But I was in jest. But to kind of close off, is nuclear the future of energy? No, we're living with the future of energy in offshore wind, tidal energy, hydro. And I'll end there because I want to hear the voices and the views of the audience too. So thank you very much.
That's great. Thanks, Robert. So now over to you, Dominic.
Okay, so is the future of energy nuclear? Yes, if you were in China. No, if you're in Scotland. So let me explain myself. If we look at the most recent data from the Financial Times, there are over 60 nuclear reactors being constructed around the world at the moment. Over 30 of those are in China. The next country that's constructing is India, which is constructing 5. So there are no other countries constructing more than 5 nuclear reactors. There are, of course, other countries that are constructing nuclear reactors, including the Czech Republic. The USA is constructing no nuclear reactors at the moment, but is very excited about small modular reactors, which Google, Amazon, lots of tech companies are investing in, basically because they need electricity for AI in their data centers. But of course, I'm not opposed to those. They can be very useful, but they don't really compare to the construction of a large nuclear reactor. So for me, it depends on where you are. I come from Italy, where nuclear energy was stopped after the Chernobyl accident, and energy became the most expensive in Europe until Germany closed its nuclear industry, and now Germany is where energy is most expensive. So the former speakers also raised issues around cost. Nuclear is wrong that nuclear is expensive. Nuclear is cheap if it's invested in over the long term. If you have a nuclear reactor running for 30 years, nuclear energy is cheap. Of course, in the UK, it has been expensive. That's basically a bad deal. You can't compare renewables to nuclear energy. Why not? Because renewables are intermittent. So if you compare wind and solar to nuclear energy, that doesn't work because you need a backup. You need gas, or you need some of the fossil fuel as a backup. So there's simply no comparison on cost. On nuclear waste, I'm afraid that Emma is also wrong about nuclear waste needing to go in the ground for 300 years. There are lots of different types of nuclear waste. Different aspects of nuclear waste give off radiation over different periods of time. Most nuclear waste that is radioactive is given off very quickly after the nuclear rods are disposed of. It's very, very minimal levels of nuclear waste need to be stored over the long term, although obviously I accept that is the case. Nobody has ever died or been injured from nuclear waste or radiation related to nuclear waste. So I'm entirely positive about nuclear energy. Why not in Scotland? Why limited in the UK? That's to do with fear, it's to do with governments changing often, it's to do with the media, and it's also due to a lot of the fear-mongering that particularly we've heard in the first comments from Emma. So that's the reason why nuclear is not the solution across the world, but it is currently in Asia and India.